If you're creating content for your business right now and you feel like it's just not getting the results that you want, chances are you're making one of 5 really common mistakes. And the worst part is that most of these mistakes are not obvious. They are sneaky. They make you feel like you're doing everything right, you're posting consistently, you're following the best practices, you're showing up every week, but somehow you're just still not getting the traction that you were hoping for. The leads are slow, the growth is flat, and everything just feels a little bit stuck. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 mistakes that are quietly holding your business back when it comes to content, and more importantly, how you can fix them. And not just in theory, I want you to leave today with a clear checklist that you can apply straight away to tighten up your content, make it relate more deeply to your audience, and actually start seeing some momentum again. So let's dive in. The first mistake is talking about the product instead of the emotion or the outcome. This is an absolute classic point, but most businesses naturally want to explain what they do. They're proud of their product and their service, and rightfully so. So they put out a post about their latest offer, their different packages available, the features that make their service better than their competition, and on the surface, that seems logical. But here is the thing that most people miss. Your audience does not wake up in the morning caring about your product. They care about themselves. They care about their problems, their dreams, their frustrations, and their future. So when your content is all about you, your features, your process, your branding, you're actually making it harder for people to connect with you. Because essentially, you're asking them to do the emotional heavy lifting themselves. You're asking them to look at your product and imagine how that fits into their own lives. And most people are too busy, too distracted, or just uninterested to do that themselves. I'm sorry to say, but you have to do this for them. You have to paint that picture. Show them what life looks like after they've worked with you. Talk them through a transformation. Talk them through the emotional payoff. Show them what they stand to gain and not just what they're buying. Because when you focus on the feeling, the pride of launching a new website, the relief of finally having a clear marketing plan, the excitement for signing new clients, your audience starts to feel the value before they even think about the price. So before you post anything this week, I want you to ask yourself this: am I talking about the product, or am I showing the transformation? Because somebody read this and instantly picture a better version of themselves. The second mistake is being a marketer and not a creator. This one's sneaky too, because if you're a business owner, marketing feels like the obvious lens to use. You're trying to grow, you're trying to sell, and of course, you are thinking like a marketer. But the platforms that you're posting to, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and all the rest of them, they aren't marketing platforms, they are attention platforms. And on attention platforms, marketing content gets ignored. If you're thinking like a marketer, you're going to create posts that sound like ads. You're going to use polished taglines, perfected value propositions, and structured calls to action. Essentially, you're creating for the funnel and not the feed. But if you're thinking like a creator, you're asking different questions. You then start asking, how do I make someone stop scrolling on a busy feed? How do I make them curious enough to click to see more? How do I keep them watching until the end? And how do I make them feel something? Creators know that it's not a battle for sales, it's a battle for attention. And if you win the attention game, you earn the right to guide people further down that funnel to eventually become a customer. So start thinking like a creator. Start thinking about hooks, about storytelling, about how to deliver value in unexpected ways. Marketing brains build funnels, but creator brains build communities. And when you build a community, you'll never have to worry about lead generation again. A few quick tips on this would be: write your opening line first and make it a scroll stopper, and check whether or not people would feel something from this post before they think about it. The third mistake is being overly professional. Now, don't get me wrong, professionalism has its place. You still want your brand to look trustworthy and ultimately premium. You still want clear messaging, good design, good grammar, and all of that stuff. But what you don't want is to come across too polished, too safe, and too corporate. That's where it starts to feel distant and unrelatable. We're moving very quickly into a very different phase of marketing right now. The super glossy, super produced content over the last decade is essentially being replaced by something far messier, but far more powerful, that being human content. Employee-generated content is literally exploding. Long-form storytelling is on a massive comeback, and people are craving realness right now. They don't want to see another stock photo of a boring corporate handshake. They want to hear what you actually think, and they want to see who you actually are. And the brands that are winning are the ones that are essentially brave enough to show up and be imperfect, to be personal, to be vulnerable, and to have an opinion. Because when you show people who you are, not just what you sell, you give them something to connect to, and you basically give them a reason to care. So you need to be constantly asking yourself, is this too polished to feel human? Where could I add a real story, a behind-the-scenes moment, or a personal opinion? And how do I add personality into something that's naturally promotional? The fourth mistake on the list is doing everything at once. This point in particular is one way to kill momentum faster than anything else. You're excited about content, right? You're making a plan, you're launching on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, maybe even Threads, Facebook. You're feeling ambitious. You start a podcast, you write a newsletter, you try and post every day, and for about 3 weeks, you're in really good position. But then life happens. Work gets busy, client projects pile up, and suddenly you're missing posts. You find yourself repurposing old content because you haven't got the time to create new stuff. You're rushing videos just to hit deadlines, and before long, everything starts to slip. The quality drops, the consistency drops, and your energy drops. Now, I'm going to hit you really straight here. Trying to master 6 platforms at once is a recipe for being mediocre pretty much everywhere. The reality is that the businesses that are smashing it right now aren't everywhere, but they're somewhere properly. They go deep. They master one platform. They learn the language of that platform. They then figure out what works. They build a real audience. And then, and only then, do they start branching out. So if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, my best advice is simple. Pick one platform and double down. Spend 80% of your time mastering it, learning all of the intricacies, and be the go-to name for your niche in that space, and then use the other 20% of your time for low-pressure testing elsewhere. Because depth beats breadth every single time. Now, you can audit your own approach by asking yourself a couple of questions. Where are you seeing real traction right now? What's the platform that gets you 80% of your results? And where do your potential customers hang out? And finally, the 5th mistake is falling into a fixed mindset with your content. This one's a bit of a slow burn, but it is a dangerous one. And I say that because I've seen it happen and it sucks. You find a format that works, a series that people seem to like, a posting rhythm that feels comfortable, and because it's working, or at least it used to work, you keep doing it again and again and again and again. The reality is that what worked last year is not going to work this year. Heck, what even worked last week is not going to work this week. And I don't mean to say that to overwhelm you and to scare you. I just want to give you the perspective that things change really quickly. Audiences get bored, algorithms change, new trends emerge, and if you're not constantly testing, tweaking, refining, and iterating your content, you will start to stagnate. The best brands aren't loyal to their old ideas. They're loyal to the process of getting better. They're always asking, what is the one thing that I could tweak this month? What is the hook that I could test? What is the one small risk that I could take? Now, they don't try and overhaul everything at once. They improve by 1% at a time, and over time, that is how you stay relevant and that's how you stay ahead. So if you want to iterate and constantly finesse, which I would recommend, commit to the following. Testing one new hook, one new format, or one new posting time at least once a month. Review results after you've posted between 5 to 10 attempts at a new style of content, and constantly research other businesses, creators, or content gaps that you could fill. Now, if you want help avoiding these mistakes, if you want to learn how to actually create content that drives trust, builds leads, and grows your business without burning yourself out, you can explore becoming a member of the Content Club by clicking the first link in the description below. And before you go, make sure to check out this video where I break down the 5 content hacks that you can implement for 2025 to get ahead, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. I post videos like this every single week, and it'd be great to see you there. So until then, thank you for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Ciao.